The Writer's Stage, Unit 2, Adolescence, The Age of the Lover. Lesson 8, Thesis and Outlines. When you write an essay, you know that your ideas need to be developed and organized in order to be clearly understood. Usually, however, you hope that your ideas will affect your reader in some particular way as well as be understood. To accomplish this, you must not only consider the subject of your essay, you must also consider the relation of the subject to the passions of the audience. This requires that you understand not only your own feelings about the subject, but the feelings of your readers. You need to ask yourself why the subject is important to you, and why it should be or could be important to the reader. According to Jaqui's speech in As You Like It, adolescence is a time of passion. In person, your gestures, your eyes, the lover's sigh, even the sights and sounds of the location, in this case Venice, all these things are experienced directly when in person. In writing, you cannot assume the audience will know automatically the emotional tone you wish them to share. How are you to anticipate the audience's response to your essay? How can you influence it? Lots of brainstorming. Try to see it from another's point of view. If you recall, you wrote about a preconceived notion for childhood. Then you wrote from the opposite viewpoint. Do so with this assignment as well. For example, teenage pregnancy. It may be easy to say that the immediate cause is unprotected sex, but certainly other causes require that you look deeper into the teen who became pregnant. Figuring out the remote causes requires that you're able to look at life from her vantage point, or the vantage point of the teenage dad, or both. Once you explore the causes and effects of your topic, you may be able to determine your thesis. As I stated in the last unit on childhood, one may define a thesis as an answer to a question. Did you expect one result from your experience, but end with something quite different? Answering that question may well be the thesis of your essay. In developing the focus or thesis to your essay, search for questions that you may have raised or answered in your brainstorming exercises. In other words, after exploring your chosen topic, what did you learn? What should the readers of your essay better understand or learn? Likewise, consider why the experience was important to you, and how could your discussing this topic matter to your audience? It's best to explore these questions in writing. The following two-part writing activity might help you focus your thoughts. After looking at your clustering activities for this essay, describe the immediate experience and then describe the experience as it seems sometime later. So first, for 5 minutes, write whatever comes to mind about the immediate experience. How could the experience be objectively described? What feelings do you associate with the experience? What initial lessons might the experience offer? Remember, these are all in the immediate moment. Then, try and put some distance between you and the event or the memory. Write for another 5 minutes describing the experience. How do the objective details now appear when you're looking back? What feelings do you associate with the experience sometime afterward? How might the experience be understood sometime later? The student author of the sample essay attempted to discover the significance of her experience by doing some free writing. I would recommend that you try the same. With the information you generated by clustering and free writing, you should be ready to begin organizing and drafting an essay. Organizing by an outline will help you to determine the order. Should you choose a chronological approach? Might you order the causes or effects by importance? Several common patterns or structures are useful in drafting and organizing cause and effect essays. If you wish to focus on the causes of some experience, explaining how or why some experience becomes important during adolescence, you may wish to structure the essay like this. You would start in your introduction describing an adolescent experience in general, and then perhaps move into a paragraph briefly describing what happened to you. Then individual paragraphs might explain the causes of that experience. You'll notice that these are organized by importance. The conclusion might offer some insight provided by discussing these causes. If you focused on effects, your outline could be identical to the one examining causes, only substitute the effects for the causes. Your outline might look like this. Notice these two are organized by importance, starting with an introduction of an adolescent experience, move into briefly what happened, and then delineate the effects of that adolescent experience. The conclusion again would offer some general insight into the event. Of course, you could both explore causes and effects in the essay. It's a bit trickier and it can become convoluted, so be careful with this approach. But if you did, it might look like this. You again would start with that introduction, then in a paragraph or two describe the causes or what led up to the event, then describe the event itself, briefly telling the story, then shift to the effects of that event. The conclusion would provide some insight on the situation. Notice that the storytelling part comes in only one small piece of the whole essay. If you see particular causes related to specific effects, you could organize the essay by examining a major cause and its effect, the next major cause and its effect, and so on. It might look like this. Notice the situation is detailed within the paragraphs. After your introduction, you would start with the first cause and effect, including the details of the event. Then you would move into the second cause and effect, including the details of the event, and so on. Be careful with this approach as well. The inclination with this option is to merely tell a story. Be sure to delineate causes and effects with this one. Don't just imply them in storytelling. Notice this outline is organized chronologically. Other possible outlines exist. You could consider effects before causes. Sometimes we're more interested in what's happened after we've first seen the effects. This is a great way to create a hook. If you were to write about the unfortunate teen experience of driving while intoxicated, you could begin your essay describing a major effect, a traffic fatality, perhaps the death of someone you knew, to get the reader's attention. Following that introduction, you could examine the causes of the behavior which led up to that effect. Your conclusion might be a solution to the dilemma. Because experiences are so varied, and because you understand your experiences from so many different and changing perspectives, you should never try to reduce all essays to a few predetermined outlines and patterns. Brainstorm the content first. Then choose the organizational pattern which best suits your needs. An obvious final lesson here is to go back to the assignment sheet. Make sure that you've fulfilled all the requirements. One way to do so is through a checklist of questions. To reasonably discuss the causes and effects of some experience, you'll want to consider the following questions. Does the essay clearly describe the experience? Hopefully it does, but it also needs to do more than that. Are the immediate causes described? Remember, immediate causes are the causes that lead directly to the effect. Are the remote causes described? The cause which may have contributed to the effect, but which cannot be directly linked to the effect. Are the necessary causes described? The causes without which an effect could not occur. Are the causes described sufficient? Could the causes described in fact produce the effect? Are the immediate effects presented? Are the delayed effects revealed? Is there a causal chain involved? And is it valid, making sure that one cause leads to an effect directly? The important thing is that you make sure your essay has identified the causes and/or the effects clearly. Next, take a look at the direct quotation module. Once you have a draft, I would like you to add one source and two and only two direct quotations from that source by experts. Do not choose famous quotes. If you're writing about teen pregnancy, choose a psychologist's comments or a social worker's comments. If you're writing on sports, choose a physician's comments or again a psychologist's. Do a quick Google search. At this point, I don't care much about the quality of your source, as I do that you choose one source with 2 interesting expert quotes and attempt to integrate them in the ways that the lessons describe. Use EasyWriter to help you. Use those handouts that I've provided in the module. And always make sure that you include a works cited page at the end of your essay. This addition to the assignment is merely practice, but try to integrate the quotes smoothly into your essay. You'll notice that they actually add a nice touch. More on that in the direct quotation module.